Today I will try to make something like stylized uh, rock path material. So I will start with a tile sampler. These days I'm a little bit bad, but no worries. What I will do is in this scale I will change to 2 like this. You can see your image is completely white, but you go back here and use the color random and increase this one like this. Okay, now what I will do is I will create a tile sampler. Oops, no, I will create an edge detect, and as you can see with this you can create a really interesting pattern for your rock material. So with this we'll use as a base for our material. So I will create a bevel right here to, and I will decrease maybe something like this, and let's connect it right here to see how the pattern is looking. Let me increase the normals. It's really interesting. So now I will create a slope blur with a pearly noise to start make some damage in the sides of the pattern. So go back here, I will increase the samples and decrease the intensity, something like this. We'll change the mode to minimum. Let me decrease a little bit more, like this is interesting. Okay, now I will create um, another slope blur, but this one is with the crystals, crystal 1, and I will scale down just a little bit, and I will create a blur HQ, and let's decrease the intensity because this blur needs to be very soft. So let's connect right here, increase the samples, decrease the intensity, and change the mode to minimum again. And now as you can see we create more sharp damage in the edges. It's interesting. You if you want something more soft, you just increase the intensity of this blur and you can see this damage being more soft. And let's see, maybe something like this is good for me. Okay. Now what I will do is create some cracks for the surface. So to create this I can use the cells, can be the cells 4, and I will scale down. Let me use a value like 4 or 5, something like this, because with this I will connect into edge detect. But before this edge detect, let's make some distortion in this node. So I will create a slope blur and a pearly noise to distort this. Okay, as you can see it's really big, so maybe instead use the slope blur we can use the warp, directional warp. Put this in input and this one in the slope, and increase the intensity to a high value. And let's directional warp again, but this time with the crystals. Okay, perfect. Now I will create a slope blur again and let delete this one, and I will connect in my Perlin noise and decrease the intensity. Maybe I can use the minimum or maximum. Let me see. Okay, and let's multiply these two values to see how this is looking. So multiply and okay. One thing I want to try is I will create a levels to make some information disappear. Let me switch to maximum, and with these levels I will increase the white like this. But when we use this, you can see some sharp edges. So it's just create a blur HQ and decrease the intensity. Just something like this. Okay. And let's try make a mask for these cracks. And to create this, I can use the flood fill. Let me connect right here. As you can see, it's not working because we don't have a hard line. Maybe we can use the edge detect to make this, because here we have hard lines, or use the slope blur, but we will use the levels to increase the intensity of this. So increase this, and now it's working. So with this I will create a flood fill grayscale, and I will enable the luminance random. So for this I can connect right here, and I will create a levels to control this mask like I'm doing here. Okay, let me increase this blur because it's really weird. uh, Increase the slope blur, and let's try and make some levels here just to increase the white. Let me go back only with the slope blur. Let me decrease a little bit this normal, it's too much intense. And what I will do here to finish is I will create now tile sampler with the pattern paraboloid, is this one, and I will decrease the X and the amount, and I will make will scale up and scale random, position random, and the color random. to make a damage in the surface. So to make this damage, I will blend. I think it will be better if we blend before the cracks. So right here in this line, I will create a blend and I will connect right here. And with the levels, I will invert this pattern. So just click here, invert it, and I will multiply. Decrease the opacity. Maybe I can decrease the scale. Like this. And I will blur this one, or you can just decrease the resolution. Will work in the same way. Like this, okay. And let's try fix this cracks. Let me disable this one or make much more soft. Maybe if I create a blur right here, not this blur, the blur HQ, increase the edges. Oh, now you can see is much better. I will decrease the scale of the cells 4, maybe to make a better, find a better pattern for the cracks. Like this one is really interesting. You have this one right here. Okay. So now what I will do is I will start to create the the color. But after I think I can create some more damage to make this more irregular. So for this I will just duplicate this style sampler. I will decrease the scale random and decrease the scale, and I will make a mask random very intense like this, and let's scale back. Maybe something like this should work, and I will create a curve. With this I will try to find a better way to create a good damage. Maybe something like this. and I will create a directional warp, and maybe we can use a Gaussian noise with a small scale. We'll move up or down. Mm, Down, I think the distortion is more intense, like this. And let's blend and using the min. So the min darken. Maybe I can use this to make cracks too. Maybe it can be interesting, interest, interesting shape for cracks. So let's just test this one. Let me create a directional warp and use the crystals to make this. Let's make this much more intense. Interesting, but I think it's not what we are looking for. Let's try this another time. So let's go back here with the curves. We'll move this. I will take this and move up. Maybe I can decrease the size of this balls just to make some random damage like this one. Okay. Um, okay, let's start making the color. So with this, I will use the curvature. Curvature is smooth to make the base of the color. So let's use the gradient map, or maybe I can use this one. Let's try make with this. If not work, we will use the last one. We'll take this middle color, put more like this. Decrease the intensity and I will decrease this ambient occlusion, and let me see, I can use those spots, these spots too, to make good shape. So I will use the gradient, and maybe I can use the same color like this. Let me decrease the precision, make this more uniform. Like this. And I will use maybe I can use the height map itself to make the mask to use this blend. So I will increase the dark, and I will invert like this. Let's connect here to see how this material is looking. I will create a levels to make the highlights, or maybe I can use the high pass. Change. Or I didn't know that, but levels should work. We'll create a blend, and let's see how this will look. Interesting. Okay. Let's create a levels to take this one and make this much more in evidence. So we will take a white color like this one, connect, maybe I can use the sharpen to make this more intense. And let's decrease the opacity a little bit. And now just to finish, let's create the roughness. But the roughness will be very simple because I will just create a levels to invert the histogram, the curvature smooth, and inverting this I will blend back with the spots, this one, as multiply decrease the opacity, and create a histogram scan to control your levels. So increase the position. Increase the more the black. Um, okay, make some changes. um, oops. Let's see what's happened if I use the bow. And this. Okay, I think now it's better. So I will use this. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. And finally, I'm back. I can create more tutorials for you. And I see you next time. Bye bye.